All right, so guidance in the dark. Well, you're all brave to be here. All right, so April, can you believe we're at the end of April? And so we've been, Easter was in April, so we were talking and looking at death, burial, resurrection principles, and how we can be renewed as well. And last week, Patrick talked about the importance of meditation and how to use intention to go within the silence that's within us. So we can use our intention to know ourselves greater. We can use an intention to ask a question to get answers. And the key is, do you remember consistency? Consistency. That's how to be effective in your meditation. And he referenced chapter 40, verse 6 in the Aquarian Gospel, where Jesus said, men carry with them all the time the secret place where they may meet their God. So we walk around with our sacred place, our silence within, where we can meet God at any moment. And so I've heard this for years, but I kind of got a picture. We carry like a pocketbook that has everything we need, to be in the world. We have our money, our lipstick, or, everything to work in the outer, whatever we may need. But we have this place that's always within us that we're walking around with. I just had a different picture. It's like this. It's right here within us. We can just dive in. And this is where we get our guidance. So we go within to get our guidance. And the guidance is direction from Spirit. It's a direction. And it's always for the highest good. It's always win-win. And guidance isn't hurried, isn't rushed. It's almost, for me, like a matter of fact, like, do this. Go here. If you don't listen, go here. Do this. Move here. Call this person. It's not in here. It's not from the mind. And it can't really be argued with. Because if you say, this was my guidance to do this, someone can't argue that that was wrong. Because it's not my opinion to be argued with. And so it takes faith and courage to follow guidance. Because guidance doesn't make sense to us because we can't see the whole picture. Because it's going to guide you into do something new and different. Because we cannot see the whole picture. So we have to believe that we live in a loving, supportive universe, right? Okay, do we all believe that? Okay. Do we forget that sometimes? Okay. And that it's the Father's good pleasure to give us the kingdom. Do we know that? And do we forget that sometimes? Okay. And it doesn't mean we discount data. We have all information, and then we go within for guidance and what feels right. And it may be scary to follow guidance. A long time ago, I was working retail, and my son was very little, and I had no days off. It was just, I had to rush home, bring him to daycare, bring him someplace else, go back to work. And I did that for a long time, and it was just my guidance, I need to quit. And I told my district manager, and he says, you can't quit, you have a little boy. And I said, right. Then I never see, right. Well, do you have another job? No. Well, you can stay on for 30 more days, so I'll give you time to go look. No. I need to give my notice. And he thought I was crazy because I was just leaving with nothing. I feel like I'm cross-eyed. With no other plan. But that was my guidance to do, was to quit. And since I worked all the time, I had 2 weeks paid vacation. So I worked my 2 weeks, had 2 weeks paid vacation. In the meantime, got another job doing something else that I knew nothing about, but followed my guidance. and that worked out. Also, we had a trip here where we went to Turkey, and I was guided to go. Now, Turkey wasn't a country that I ever thought growing up that I'd like to go to. And even when Cindy said, oh, we're going to Turkey, I'm like, oh, okay. Do you want to go? I don't know. It's not like I had that desire. I wanted to go. I knew I had to go. And then I don't know how I was going to do it. It was pretty expensive. But then the universe made everything happen and everything all worked out where I could go. And it was amazing, unforgettable. And we did work for the whole. And so that was another thing. Okay, I'm going to go. It wasn't a true desire, but it was guidance, and I followed it. So have you all had that experience? And then on a more simpler note, long time ago, and I remember this so clearly because it was probably maybe my first time that I followed it so immediately. I was driving to work, and I pass here, and just had that voice that said, stop and get Cindy flowers. I'm on my way to work. Okay, and I drove into Kroger, got flowers, brought here, put them there. I didn't see her, and brought flowers and went to work. She said she screamed when she saw them, and she told God that she needed flowers today. I had no idea. I didn't wake up thinking, oh, maybe I should bring Cindy flowers. I didn't go, well, I'm going to be late for work. I just did it, and I had no clue why. I just followed it. And there's where we can be a blessing for an individual following guidance. We went to Turkey, we were a blessing for the whole. And so we have no idea the reach of following our guidance. So we all had that, right? Everybody knows what I'm talking about. And I bet we have a lot of experience of when we didn't follow guidance. Because our mental mind says, I'm too busy, I don't know. We have all this thing because it doesn't make sense to us. And it may have been as simple as call somebody or go this way to work. It doesn't have to be earth-shattering. It's just those little guidances that is directing us through our life to put us where we need to be put. And so we have all not listened to guidance, yes? And we know what that feels like. Okay. And so we don't need to get down on ourselves because it's all a process of learning. Maybe that, oh, yes, that was what that voice sounded like. Maybe I'll listen to it next time, So it's hard to be able to take our focus out of the outer world and to listen and follow that all the time. Because there's so much stimulation in the world, we're asked to respond immediately to a lot of things. Everything is so fast-paced. Even, if you're on Facebook, pop-up ads, and you're trying to do something, and then everything is coming at us, and then our focus becomes on that. And when we discount our guidance, we become more closed to following Spirit. We're closing that door. Yeah, I heard you, but I should do that, but yeah, I know that's not good for me, but I'm going to zone out on Netflix instead. And you can intentionally say, this is what I want to do, and it's fun, or it can be a way to avoid listening and moving forward in our growth. So it can be very simple, just following our guidance on anything that is for us. It could be what to eat, where to go, anything like that. So even if we've been meditating consistently, like Patrick talked about last week, and following our guidance, because we do pretty good, right? All the times, sometimes we just still can't feel that light. Sometimes we just feel covered up and we don't know what to do when there's a lot of unknowns. The general term is stress. Okay? You can try and meditate. Have you ever tried to meditate and you can't get off the ground and you sat there because everything is... and so it starts to darken our light. We start to be unsure of ourselves. We start to not knowing what to do. So we can move into, when we want to say like darkness. Darkness is just the absence of light, where we are unclear. So we have our emotions that can overtake us, where we may have an emotion that we don't know how to process. Maybe we've had a loss or hurt, and now that, normally we're doing okay, but something has come and hit us and knocked us off center. We have decisions to make that are unknown for family or our work. We both have moms that are almost 90 at opposite ends of the East Coast that are both needing care. So we're in the process of a lot of unknowns and uncovering and what to do, what's the right thing to do. It could be business related in your business. Everyone has pressures on them making decisions. Just that mental overwhelm. And it's just basically a situation where we're unclear and we don't know what our next step is. We can just be unhappy and we don't know why, and we don't know how to change it. And then we start making maybe not the best decisions for ourselves. Some maybe unhealthy choices. We start to feel depressed and we have lack of energy because we are unsure. And when we start to see what we could see unbelievable things in our world, then for many of us it makes us not trust our own guidance, or not forgetting that we're a child of God. So it's not, it doesn't have to be a mental issue or an emotional issue. It's more like a memory issue. It's like we forget that we are a child of God, and that we forget that we have the power to go within, and that we live in a loving, supportive universe, and everything we need is right here for us. And sometimes we could go into darkness from our own choices, and sometimes it can be a challenge that we have set up for this lifetime, and that it was meant for us to move through it so that we can come out on the other side. And how do we face those challenges? So when we're in that situation, what words are we saying? What's our energy? Are we asking, how long will I suffer? Why can't I see? I don't know, What words are we using? Are we complaining and just caught in the problem of the darkness? Or are we asking for our next step to be revealed? So why is this happening? Sometimes we don't need to know why, because the why is too big. Sometimes we just need to ask, what's my next step? Show me my next step. What do I need to change? This is all simple, right? We all know this, right? But we forget because we get caught in it. And so how are we bringing God light into the situation? Are we calling forth the presence and power of God? You do know that when you say the word God, you call forth the vibration of God. And in our commandments, they say, do not take the Lord's name in vain. In vain means have no value. Do not bring God's energy into something that has no value. Use it to create what you desire. So we're not going to damn the process. we want to lift the process. So if we call God's energy out loud, we are calling forth the energy, and then we can mold that energy to lift. Have we all done that before? Okay, good. And so we know that everything is vibration, and we have everything we need, and so we could start to look for signs of support in our universe, because everything is vibration. So, let me have those two, thank you. So, as you know, when you do a service, you get to live the service. So in darkness, looking for wisdom and reaching out, why was this harder than normal? I don't know. I have, like probably most of us, a bunch of angel cards, chakra cards, crystals. We got everything around that has a vibration to support us, right? So I said, okay, let me do this infinite wisdom of the chakras. So you just shuffle, 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 and whatever one like kind of sticks to the hand. I'm looking for guidance. My card is guidance. It's the sacred grove, okay? And it was about, it's pretty long, so I won't read the whole thing, but picturing that sacred grove, so it's giving your mental mind something to do, okay? It's shifting that mental picture to picture this grove of peace that you can connect with spirit and the teachers and universal force. It's an important place to honor yourself and your own insight. And reflect on images, get your highest guidance. Notice the way you receive the information, whether it's through visual pictures, words, your mind, a physical sense of knowledge, or a pure knowing. Rest inside the sacred grove where you need to connect to higher guidance and your higher self. Ask for the answers and be open to receive them however they appear. There's a deep connection to your intuition and wisdom you can trust in. Thank this space for offering itself to you. In their power statement, which would be an affirmation, I now open my inner sanctuary for wisdom and messages. Pretty profound, right? And so I said, okay, let me tell my angel cards. So, and there's 45 cards in each deck, okay? So you're getting that one. And it was courage. Courage, Ariel. Be courageous and stand up for your beliefs. In this situation, you need to act upon your conviction, even if others disagree. I'm protecting you from harm and guiding you to be a loving warrior of light. As you stand up for your beliefs, you're a role model for others. This is an important form of spiritual teaching in which your example gives others courage to also stand up for their own principles. Pretty good, huh? So, I'll keep these up here. You can even open a dictionary, and you will be given the word that will support you. So, I didn't bring the dictionary because it's this big. So I opened it up, and there's a word I never heard before. I don't know how to say it. Peripetia, Peripeteia. It's falling in with, so I was thinking following in with alignment. A sudden change of circumstances. Great, now I know things are going to turn around. And then below it says, usually a reversal of fortune, usually in a drama where there's a turn for the worse. So being metaphysical, I was like, well, I know there's a turn. And so I looked up synonyms. Crossroads, defining moment, critical point. That's where I was at. And isn't that where we get in the darkness, we have that critical point where we can make a shift and change. So from a dictionary to angel cards, it's all, we need to start looking for signs and knowing that we're getting messages to help us lift and remember who we are. Remember who we are. Okay? So we use our mental mind to look for signs, and that helps shifts our mental mind. The other thing to do is to pray and pray out loud. Jesus said, when two or more are gathered, there I am in the midst. So Jesus prayed out loud to the disciples. He prayed out loud to heal. He prayed out loud to raise the dead. He prayed out loud to bless his disciples before he left. Speaking the word of God, we call it forth with a mighty voice. So it can quicken and shift our vibration. So, and that's what we're looking to do. We're looking to bring that vibration of light into that darkened space. And you've all heard, well, we've resorted to prayer. So a lot of times we use prayer as a last resort instead of starting with it and starting our day with it. And we pray every day before we leave the house. Surround us with light and protection, our children, health, win-win situations, let us be a blessing. Just that, like, for us to do. So I said to John this morning, we need to pray. Okay. No, you need to pray out loud for me because I only have 2 pages still. And he prayed, and it's not to fix the situation, it's for me to remember who I am. Remember, let my ears and eyes be open, that I hear, that I am a channel, and I can hear, and, just a remembering of who I am. And it just shifts when you say it out loud. It just shifts. And I was like, thank you. And I went in and, okay. And got clarity. On Sundays, after service, we offer a prayer minister. One of our ministers will go in the other room, and anybody who wants to be in prayer. And what it is it's not counseling. It's just 5-10 minutes, maybe longer if need be. But the minister is just praying with the person, bringing light into their situation and helping them reconnect with their higher self so they have the power and know that they're loved and supported and can move through the situation. Again, it's just a short prayer. It's not counseling. It's to give you back your own power and that you feel safe and supported. And sometimes I have a client that when she gets upset, she goes, I just need to, just tell me everything's going to be okay. Okay, everything's going to be okay. Good, I feel better. And so maybe you all have a key phrase or something that can make you feel better. Think about it. Maybe that, everything's going to be okay. Or God's got me. Or I've been through this before, I know I can get through it. So a suggestion is that maybe in our darkest hours, and maybe not even in the darkness, just in general, we have somebody that we can reach out to. And it may not always be your spouse. Be somebody that knows they can see the Christ in you and can tell you everything's going to be okay, or that God's got you, or that you are the light. And so maybe think about connecting with that person. Do you think you could reach out to someone and say, hey, will you be my reminder? It's your reminder person that you're the light. So that would be step 2. So 1, we have get our mental mind kind of aligned with the vibrations around us. 2, pray out loud yourself. God, shine light on the situation, show me what to do, God. Because a lot of times we sit by ourselves and just stew over and over, and I'm not sure. And so say out loud, and maybe you do. I tend not to. And so it's so important just to say, God, help me see. Bring light. What's my next step? How can I heal? Whatever your issue is. The importance of speaking brings the invisible into manifest. So it becomes more powerful. And there we're linking in brotherhood. We're lifting each other up in brotherhood, seeing the light in each other, helping to remember who we are. When Jesus was on the cross, and he said, my God, in some of the texts it says, why have you forsaken me? Doesn't that confuse you? Okay. According to Rocco Errico, our translator from the original Aramaic sayings that Jesus spoke, the translation is, my God, for this was my destiny. This was my destiny. I am moving into this darkness to prove I can come through it for all men. And we know when he went into the apparent darkness of apparent death, he was busy. He went and taught and freed, right? All right. Let me find it here. So now Jesus did not sleep within the tomb. The body is manifest of soul, but soul is soul without its manifest. And in the realm of souls unmanifest, the Lord went forth and taught. He opened up the prison doors and set the prisoners free. He broke the chains of captive souls and led the captives to light. He sat in council with the patriarchs and prophets of the olden times, and the masters of all times and climes he met. And in the great assemblies he stood forth and told the story of his life on earth and of his death and sacrifice for men, and of his promises to clothe himself again in garb of flesh and walk with his disciples just to prove the possibilities of man, to give them the key of life, death, and the resurrection of the dead. And in the council, all the masters sat and talked about the revelation of the coming age, when holy breath shall fill the earth and air and holy breath and open up the way of men to perfectness and endless life. So he was busy in the apparent darkness, but he went there knowing who he was. He remembered who he was. So we know as we go forth in our challenges, if we can remember who we are, then we too can grow and resurrect and be renewed and come out on the other side, and mostly probably being a blessing for the whole. Does that sound good? Do you think you can do it? Was that too heavy? No. That's too heavy? Okay. All right, so just breathe, because everything's vibration. And so what I'd like to do is, if you're open to, you can do it if you're not. I'd like to start with just saying God 3 times. So let's just close your eyes. God, 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 and just feel. And in this space, ask for what you want. Ask for healing. Ask for light. Ask to remember who you are. And in this space of manifest, we ask that all that we desire be enfolded in love and light in the highest possible way, greater than we can even understand. And we know in this space we have all we need. We have access to all that we would want to guide us on our path, remembering as we walk as a child of God, in light and love and peace. and all will be revealed. And just with intention, say, I desire to follow my guidance. I desire to hear and know. And I'm open to receive messages and follow, even if I don't understand. Because God's got me. And just take a nice deep breath. And just notice how you feel. I want to thank Jesus for the gift of the Christ and the Christed consciousness, that we try and access and walk in that consciousness every moment and every day. And so it is. All right. Yay, God.
Thank you, Cheryl.